Hey everybody! Welcome to X versus Y, where we pit the weirdest, craziest, most mind-blowing facts against each other. Today's matchup is going to tug at your heartstrings. And your funny bone. That's right, it's funny facts versus heartbreaking facts. We've got a whole bunch of unbelievable truths lined up for you. Some will have you busting a gut, others might make you tear up a little. But hey, that's life, right? A big old bowl of laughs and tears all mixed up. Will the laughter win, or will the heartbreak take over? Stick around to find out. All right, animal lovers, buckle up. You know how our furry friends go bonkers after a good poop? It's called poo-phoria. Scientists think it's like a little victory dance for dogs. Woohoo, I pooped. I'm the king of the world. But hold on, because here comes the feels train. Did you know that dogs actually dream about their owners when they sleep? Those little whimpers and paw twitches, they might be chasing squirrels with you in their dreams. Speaking of amazing animals, elephants, these gentle giants are known for their incredible memory, right? But get this, they can also recognize themselves in a mirror. That's right, they pass the self-awareness test just like humans and some primates. But here's the sad part. Elephant populations are dwindling because of poaching and habitat loss. We gotta do better, people. All right, foodies, let's talk about some delicious facts. Did you know that in Japan they grow watermelons in squares? They put the melons in special boxes while they're growing and boom, square watermelon. It's perfect for saving space in your fridge, but those babies are pricey. During the Great Depression, people were so desperate for food that they resorted to making mock apple pie using crackers. They used Ritz crackers, cinnamon, and sugar because real apples were just too expensive. Okay, let's lighten the mood with a little pizza trivia. Did you know that the world's most expensive pizza costs over $2,700? It's called the Louis XIII, and it's made with fancy ingredients like lobster, caviar, and edible gold. But here's a food fact that's both fascinating and a little unsettling. There are over 7,000 varieties of apples grown around the world, but only about 100 of them are commercially available in the United States. Mind-blowing, right? Space, the final frontier. It's full of mind-blowing wonders, like the fact that astronauts actually get taller in space. Without gravity compressing their spines, they can grow up to 2 inches. Astronauts on the ISS see 16 sunrises and sunsets every single day. That's because they're orbiting Earth so fast. No wonder some of them experience extreme homesickness. Speaking of the International Space Station, did you know it travels at a speed of 17,500 miles per hour? That's like flying from New York to Los Angeles in about 5 minutes. But here's a sobering thought. The footprints left on the moon by the Apollo astronauts will likely remain there for millions of years. It's a haunting reminder of humanity's presence in the vastness of space. All right, let's get up close and personal with the human body. Ever wonder why we can't help but laugh when we're tickled? Our brains actually think we're being attacked. Tickling triggers a primal response that's supposed to protect us from danger. But here's a fact that's a little less funny and a lot more bittersweet. Our brains start forgetting things almost immediately. As soon as a memory is formed, it begins to fade. Okay, let's move on to something a little less existentially dreadful. Did you know that the human heart beats over 100,000 times a day? That's like a non-stop drum solo going on inside your chest. And speaking of drum solos, did you also know that your heartbeat actually syncs up with the rhythm of music? So the next time you're rocking out to your favorite tunes, remember that your heart is jamming right along with you. But here's a fact that might make you squirm a little. Your skin is crawling with microscopic mites right now. Don't worry, they're harmless, mostly. But they spend their entire lives on your face, feeding on dead skin cells. It's enough to make you want to scrub your face raw, but hey, at least they're keeping our pores clean, right? History class was never this much fun. Did you know that Napoleon Bonaparte, the legendary French military leader, was once attacked by a horde of bunnies? He had requested a rabbit hunt for entertainment, but instead of fleeing in terror, the bunnies charged straight at him. But history isn't always a laughing matter. Anne Frank, the young girl who wrote her famous diary while hiding from the Nazis, died just weeks before her concentration camp was liberated. It's a stark reminder of the horrors of war and the importance of tolerance and compassion. Okay, let's lighten the mood with a fun fact. Did you know that the ancient Romans used to brush their teeth with urine? They believed it had whitening properties. I don't know about you, but I'll stick to toothpaste. But here's a historical fact that's both fascinating and incredibly sad. The Library of Alexandria, one of the largest and most comprehensive libraries of the ancient world, was destroyed by fire in 48 BC. It's believed to have housed countless scrolls and texts, representing a vast collection of human knowledge. The loss of such a treasure trove of information is truly heartbreaking. Calling all techies. Did you know that the very first alarm clock ever invented could only ring at 4 a.m.? That's right, no snooze button, no choosing your wake-up time. Talk about a rude awakening. But here's a tech fact that's a little less amusing and a lot more thought-provoking. There are actually more mobile phones in the world than there are toilets. It's amazing how technology connects us, but it's also a reminder that basic necessities are still out of reach for many people around the globe. Speaking of mobile phones, did you know that the first ever mobile phone call was made in 1973? Martin Cooper, an engineer at Motorola, made the historic call to his rival Joel Engel at Bell Labs. Can you imagine that conversation? Hey Joel, it's Marty. Guess what? I'm talking to you on a phone that I'm holding in my hand. Beat that! But here's a scary thought. The average person spends over 4 hours a day staring at their smartphone. That's a lot of time scrolling through social media, playing games, and watching cat videos. Maybe it's time we all put down our phones for a bit and enjoy some real-life interactions, right? Nature is full of surprises. For instance, did you know that sloths, those slow-moving creatures, can actually hold their breath longer than dolphins? While dolphins can hold their breath for about 10 minutes, sloths can go for a whopping 40 minutes. But here's a nature fact that's not so cute and cuddly. Since 1970, we've lost over 60% of the world's wildlife populations due to habitat destruction, climate change, and poaching. It's a devastating statistic that highlights the urgent need to protect our planet and its incredible biodiversity. Speaking of incredible creatures, did you know that the world's smallest mammal is the bumblebee bat, which is only slightly larger than a bumblebee? They live in caves and use echolocation to navigate in the dark. Talk about adorable little superheroes. But on a more serious note, here's a fact that's both fascinating and concerning. The Great Barrier Reef, the largest living structure on Earth, has lost more than half of its coral cover in the past 30 years due to rising ocean temperatures and pollution. It's a stark reminder of the impact human activities are having on our planet. Lights, camera, fun facts. Did you know that the lovable ogre Shrek was originally supposed to be voiced by Chris Farley? He had even recorded most of the dialogue before his untimely passing. Mike Myers eventually took on the role and, well, the rest is history. But here's a bittersweet fact about another comedy legend. Robin Williams had a special clause in his will that prevents companies from using his voice or image for 25 years after his death. He wanted to protect his legacy from being exploited. Speaking of legendary actors, did you know that Marilyn Monroe's iconic white dress from the 7-Year Itch sold at auction for a record-breaking $4.6 million? That's a lot of dough for a dress that's been blown around by a subway grate. But here's a fact that might surprise you. The Happy Birthday song, the one we all sing at birthday parties, is actually copyrighted. The melody and lyrics are owned by Warner Chappell Music, and they've been known to collect royalties for its use in commercial settings. Science rules! And sometimes it throws us curveballs, like the fact that bananas are technically berries. According to botanical definitions, bananas fit the bill for a berry, while strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries don't. Who knew? But here's a science fact that's a little less appetizing. If a human body were exposed to the vacuum of space without a spacesuit, it wouldn't explode like in the movies. Instead, it would swell up and freeze at the same time. Talk about a double whammy. Speaking of amazing adaptations, did you know that chameleons don't change color to camouflage themselves? They actually change color to communicate with each other, express their mood, and regulate their body temperature. But here's a scientific fact that's both mind-blowing and a little terrifying. There are more stars in the observable universe than there are grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth. It's a humbling reminder of just how vast and mysterious the cosmos truly is. All right, folks, it's time for some random but oh so fascinating facts. Did you know that Scotland's national animal is the unicorn? While unicorns are mythical creatures, they've been a symbol of purity, innocence, and power in Scottish heraldry for centuries. But let's end on a truly emotional note. There's a word in Portuguese, saudade, that doesn't have a direct English translation. It describes a deep emotional state of nostalgic or profound melancholic longing for an absent something or someone that one loves. It often carries the hope of seeing or experiencing it again, but often with the knowledge that this may not happen. It's the bittersweet ache of missing something or someone you love, knowing that you might never have it or them again. Speaking of language, did you know that the English language is constantly evolving? Every year, new words and phrases are added to the dictionary, reflecting the ever-changing ways we communicate. But let's wrap things up with a fact that's both heartwarming and heartbreaking. The average lifespan of a goldfish is about 10 years. Those little guys can live for a decade if they're well cared for. So if you're thinking about getting a goldfish, make sure you give it a spacious tank and plenty of love. And that's it for our battle between funny facts versus heartbreaking facts. Which one got to you the most? Were you laughing more, or did the heartbreaking facts hit too hard? Let us know in the comments. We had square watermelons, bunny-attacked emperors, and even the science of tickling. Who knew learning could be such a roller coaster of emotions? But hey, that's what we do here at X versus Y. We bring you the most mind-blowing, hilarious, and heartwarming facts from all corners of the universe. If you enjoyed this emotional roller coaster, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a video. See you next time on X versus Y.